have a look at what we're doing today. First of all, we're going to go through a little bit of revision on what we did on Monday. Okay, we're going to look at it from a different way tonight. So let's have a look at our number patterns. All right, we were looking at number patterns on Monday. We've been looking at them for the last 2 weeks. We're going to carry on tonight. It's our last lesson on number patterns this week. Next week, we're moving on to some functions and relationships. So let's have a look. My first number pattern they've given here to me tonight is 16, 13, 10, and 7. And I see that once again, I put the same number pattern there. So I'm just going to change this one for us. I'm going to make this one 2, 7, 12, 17. Apologies, guys. All right, so let's have a look at the first number pattern that we've got there. We've got 16, 13, 10, and 7. So tonight what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting this number pattern inside of a table. Let's have a look at if we put this number pattern inside of a table, everybody. Okay, so in my table, all right, I'm going to have a look at putting my numbers on the top, all right, and I'm going to have a look at, sorry, I'm just going to fix this one for you guys. All right, so I'm going to say to myself, well, if I'm looking at this, and when we looked at it on Monday, I said to you guys that we're looking at things called terms, and we're looking at things called positions, and that was super confusing. So we're going to break it down a little bit more tonight by using a table. On the top, I'm going to say to you guys that I want to know the position, all right, the position that the term is in. Now, if I'm looking for positions, everybody's probably been in a race before, or you've swum in a gala maybe, or you've run an athletics day or something like that, and you know that we have positions that we come in. So we get first position, second position, third position, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and we can go on and on and on and on and on and on forever and ever and ever. Okay, so first we start by putting our position on the top. All right. Okay. Underneath, I'm going to go say now, all right, if this was my position 1, then the number that's in position 1 is going to be number 16. Okay, the number that's in position 2 is going to be number 13. The number that's in position 3 is going to be number 10. The number that's in position 4 is going to be number 7. All right. Now, I'm seeing some people telling me, what are we doing each time? We're subtracting 3. Good. So my number that's in the 5th position is going to be number 4, because I'm going to subtract 3. My next number is going to be number 1, because I'm subtracting 3 again. And finally, if I say 1 minus 3, I'm going to get negative 2. How did I get negative 2? Okay, how did I get negative 2? I put it on a number line, right, and I counted backwards. Okay, so this is my position, position 1, position 2, position 3, position 4, position 5, and this here is my term. Okay, so the numbers on the top tell me what my position is. My numbers on the bottom tell me what my term is. All right. Now, in maths, we have some letters that represent that. When we're talking about position, instead of saying position, what you'll often see instead is you'll see the letter N. So instead of using the whole word position, because can you see it was really hard for me to fit the word position in there, they use the letter N. So instead of seeing the word position, we use the letter N. And instead of seeing the word term, they often use the words T, N. So instead of seeing the word term, they say T. All right. So if I was going to fill that into my block over here, I would say, okay, that this here is my N, my position, and this here is my term, my TN. Okay. Can you have a look at the table below for me? All right. And can you redraw that on your piece of paper and fill in for me what your position is, your N's, and then your TNs for me. So fill those in for me. I'm going to take a question. I see that I've got 2 hands raised here. So while you're filling that in for me, I'm going to answer Swilishle. I see you've got your hand up. How can I help you? You are unmuted. Swilishle, I see you've got your hand up. How can I help you? You are unmuted. Swilishle, I see you've got your hand up. Okay, Swilishle, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi.
Hi, Swilishle, how can I help? All right, I am not sure where Swilishle went to. I'm going to move on to Grace.
Swilishle, you are logged in on 2 devices. Please log out of one device or just mute the one device. Just mute your one device or log out of the one device, and then we'll be able to attend to your question. There we go.
Okay. Swilishle, do you want to try again for us? Okay, Swilishle, you are unmuted. Do you want to try ask a question again?
Yes. In the table form, do not usually write it as yes. I'm muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
In the table form, do not does it not go like let's say one term T1 and then you equals and then you write it as like not in a table but in like I can't explain it, but you write it down instead of in a table form.
So you would say this. You would say T1 equals 16. T2 equals 13, like that.
Yes, but let's say since it's 16 and you add 3, you'll write T1 equals 3 and then brackets multiply it.
So Swilishle, you are absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You are
and you have to plus something.
So Swilishle, you are absolutely right, and we are going to get there. We're just going to do it slowly tonight. That's all. So we are getting there. That's our next step, I promise. So you are right. We're going to get there. That's our next step tonight. Okay. Thank you so much. So we are getting there. Well done. You 1 step ahead of us. Well done. Well done.
Yes.
You are 1 step ahead. We're getting there. Okay. So I'm going to answer Swilishle's question. So Swilishle is saying, do we not do an equation for this? Yes, we do. So remember on Monday, we did do the equations and we are going to get there tonight. We're just going to put it into the table format first. So we're taking a step back because there were loads and loads of questions on Monday about not understanding what N means and TN. So we're just taking a step back, going over it again, and then we're going to carry on from there. All right, I'm going to answer one more question. Boitumelo, how can I help you? Boitumelo, you unmuted. What's your question?
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's your question?
Okay, ma'am. On Monday I wasn't here, so I wasn't able to ask this question. But
Okay.
ma'am, the question is about the boot camp.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we were told that you're going to send us the question paper, but I never got it.
Okay, so Mr. Hugo will be able to answer that question for you in the chat. I'm sure that he will answer that question for you. So Mr. Hugo, will you just maybe answer that question for everybody in the chat? I think Mr. Hugo does have some feedback for you on that question, okay? All right,
No
so
problem. Just watch out for in the chat. I'll get an answer for you.
okay, there we go. Thank you so much. All right, guys, I do see there's quite a few hands up. I promise I will answer some more of your questions a bit later. I want to go ahead and I want to fill in this table. So I've got my first term here was 2, and then I had 7, and then I had 12, and then I had 17. All right, so can I see my next hand that is up here? I've got Tara Jane. Are you going to help me fill in this table? Tara
Yes,
Jane. Let's go. What's my next 3 terms, Tara?
22,
Good. 22,
27,
27,
and 32.
and 32. Good. So each time I was adding 5. Hey, Tara?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Tara Jane. Do you have another question, or was that what you were just going to help me?
I was gonna ask, is the blocks, so basically you have 7 blocks. How do we know when to stop the sum? Is there always just gonna be 7 blocks? Like to fill in?
They could have 20 blocks if they really wanted to, but I'm sure that they'll just have enough blocks that they want you to fill in. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome, Tara Jane. All right. So let's carry on. Okay. I'm going to go back and I'm going to have a look at number 1 quickly. So in number 1, just like we had a look at earlier on, I'm going to go say to myself, okay, in number 1, if I ask myself, what is T1? So what was the first term? What is T1? So if I go to number 1, the first term, T1, it was equal to 16. Right? What was T2? What was the second term? If I go to T2, so I go to T2, T2 was 13. And actually, can I carry on? Can I say, well, T3, the third term, that was equal to 10. T4, that was equal to 7. T5, that's equal to 4. T6, that's equal to 1. And T7, that's equal to negative 2. So for each of these, I can go and ask everybody, what is the term? So what is T4? You go to where the number 4 is, term 4, and you can tell me term 4 is the number 7. All right, so it's very useful to know the language of maths to be able to answer these questions. Okay. Now, we took it one step further on Monday and last week, and what we did was we tried to find the rules for these patterns. So we looked to see whether we could find the rules for these patterns. All right, so for the first one, I'm going to give myself a little bit of space. Okay, I'm going to give myself a little bit of space here. All right, the next term that we're going to look at in maths, or the next word, is we're going to talk about the difference. D, the difference. So if I'm looking at number 1, what am I doing each time? What's the common difference? What's the difference? What can you tell me in the chat? So what am I doing each time to get the next number? First of all, am I adding or subtracting? And then what am I adding or subtracting by? Good, well done. The difference, good, is minus 3. So each time to get the next number, the difference needs to be minus 3. The difference needs to be minus 3. Okay. What we need to now say to ourselves is the following. We need to now say to ourselves is, when I'm looking for this rule for this pattern, I'm going to say, okay, that if I'm looking for the first block over here, if I'm looking in the first block over here, I'm saying 16 oh, sorry. Apologies, guys. Apologies. Start again. Okay. So I'm saying to myself, I'm starting with 1. So we start with 1. What am I going to do with 1? I'm going to multiply first. And what am I always going to multiply by? I'm going to multiply by my difference. So 16 multiplied by -1. Okay. And then I need to do something else to this number. And what I'm going to do each time is I'm going to add something, all right, to give me the final answer of 16. So 1, my position, times by -3. So 1 times by -3 gives me -3. And -3 plus what will give me 16. So if I go and I draw a number line out, all right, if I go and draw a number line out, I see that to get from -3 all the way to 16, I'll need to add 19. All right, so I'll have to say 1 times by -3 plus 19 will give me 16. 1 times by -3 plus 19 gives me 16. Right. Let's check if it works with our other ones. Okay, let's check if it works with our other numbers. So let's replace that and let's replace that. Let's go put in the number 4. Okay, so I'm going to go here to number 4. All right. 4 times by -3. 4 times -3 gives me -12. And -12 plus 19, -12 plus 19 gives me 7. Is that what my sum works out to? Is that what my fourth term is? Yes, maths is beautiful. Hey, maths is beautiful. Let's go try another one and see if it works. So let's go try this one over here. We're going to say 7. So let's see, 7 times by -3. So 7 times by -3. So a positive times a negative gives me a negative. 7 times by 3 gives me -21. And -21 plus 19 gives me -2. Is that what my answer is? Yes, maths is beautiful. So when they're looking for us to do the rule now, we will tell them, well, we know, what are we doing? We're going to say n, the position number, because that's what we're doing each time, times by -3 plus 19 will give me Tn. Okay. Could I write that in a different way? Could I make that look a little bit more mathy? I could. If I write it that way, perfectly fine. I'll get all my marks. It makes absolutely sense. Makes absolute sense. Okay. Or I could say to myself, Tn, so the term is equal to the positions, -3 times by the position plus 19. All right, so just a different way for me to write it. Different way for me to write it. So I know some of you might be a little bit confused still. So let's do one more together and then I'll answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so in my next one, I see that my difference, okay, my difference, I'm going to write in red for this next one for you. My difference now for this next one, what am I doing each time? I am adding 5. So 2 plus 5 gives me 7, And 7 plus 5 gives me 12. So my difference is going to be 5. So if I use the same thing, my process that I've done before, to try and work this one out, I'm going to say 1, do my little arrow. What do I always do? I say times by my difference. What was my difference? My difference was 5. And then I always say plus something will give me my term. My term for this one, so let's go highlight them. So when my position is 1, then my term will give me 2. So 1 times 5 is 5. And what do I add to 5 to get to 2? Well, I know I'm not going to be adding something. 5 minus 3 gives me 2. Let's check and make sure. Let's see if it works for another one. So let's do the number 3 for ourselves. We're going to leave the operation in the middle the same. Let's go highlight the third one for ourselves. Right, so 3 times by 5 gives me 15. And 15 minus 3 gives me, ding, 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 12. Is that what the answer is? Yes, it is. Oh, I love number patterns. It just makes so much sense. All right, let's go try another one. Let's go try the one for number 6. So we go say to ourselves, we go say 6 times by 5 gives me 30, and 30 minus 3 gives me 27. Does it work? Is the 6th term 27? Yes, it is. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now they ask me to write it in a rule, so to write the rule out. So I'm going to go say to myself, well, the term is equal to 5 times by the position minus 3. So to get the term, I times the position by 5 and I minus 3. All right, I'm going to move it up to number 3. So those people who do understand can go give number 3 a try for me. I am going to answer 2 questions while we are doing that. All right, let's have a look. Please make sure, everybody, just a reminder that you are listening to the people's questions, because I'm only going to re-explain a question once if that is what somebody asks me to do. Otherwise, I'm going to suggest that you go and rewatch the video. So let's start with Unati. Unati, what is your question?
Ma'am.
Yes.
How did you get negative by number 1, ma'am?
How did I get? Say it again, Unati. You just broke off a little bit.
How did you get -2 by number 1, ma'am?
By number 1, I didn't get negative. Oh, up here. So I said to myself, Unati, 7 times by -3. What's 7 times -3? So first of all, what's a positive times a negative, Unati?
Positive. Yes, ma'am.
A positive times a negative gives me a negative, hey? Do you agree? Unati? Okay, I seem to keep losing Unati, so I'm going to go through it without her. Okay, you are there. Okay, so a positive times a negative gives me a negative 3 times by 7. Okay, 3 times by 7 gives me negative 21. And then I go say negative 21 plus 19. Well, if I go put that on a number line, negative 21 plus 19 equals negative 2. Does that make sense, Anaki?
And ma'am,
Yeah,
I can see it, ma'am, now. Ma'am, what does this stand for?
D stands for the difference. So what did I do to 16 to get to 15, to get to 13? I minus 3, hey? What did I do to 13 to get to 10? Minus 3. What did I do
13
to
to
10 to get to 7? I must minus 3, hey? So D stands for the difference.
Oh,
Okay, does that make sense?
yes, ma'am.
Good, good, well done. Okay, I'm going to move to another question. All right. Junior, I'm unmuting you. What is your question? Junior, you should be able to speak. I'm not hearing you though. You are unmuted. What's your question? All right, Junior, I'm going to try once more. Junior, you are unmuted. You should be able to ask me your question. All right, Junior, maybe try write your question in the chat. Okay, I've got Giga. Giga, can I help you? Giga, you are unmuted. What's your question? All right, I am not hearing from there either. Right, Ganya, you should be able to unmute yourself. Do you want to ask me a question?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi there, how can I help?
Ma'am, at school they taught me something different. You see, like,
Yeah, Ganya,
you
and
see,
that's
like,
fine. Ganya, does it make sense the way they taught you at school?
yes, ma'am.
It doesn't make. And are you getting the same answers as me?
Yes, ma'am.
Then Ganya, I'm really use the way they taught you at school. If you understand it, that's perfectly fine, my love. But this is just a different way. So if you understand this way, use this way. If you understand the way from school, use the way from school. Either way is perfect. Okay, I don't want to confuse you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Does that make sense? You're welcome. No problem, my love. All right, I'm answering one more question. Grace, do you want to answer me a question?
Yes, Miss. I'm not asking a question, but Miss, I think I figured out the rule for number 3, Miss.
Did you figure out the rule for number 3? Okay, Grace. So I'm going to come back to you and I'm going to ask you the rule, Grace. I just want to fill in the table and stuff first. So I'm going to keep your hand up. I'm coming back to you to get the rule, okay? All right, don't put your hand down yet, okay? I'm going to put you on mute so long, all right? But I am coming back. Okay, cool. So I'm going to come back to Grace. Grace is going to help me with the rule. Let's have a look at what we've got here. So on the top, I've got N. On the bottom, I've got Tn. This is position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then I've got 5, 8, 11, 14, 17. And what am I doing each time? Good, guys. I'm adding 3. Nice. So 20 and 23. Okay, now I'm going to bring Grace back to help me. Where's Grace on my screen? There we go. Okay, Grace, talk to me. What did you do?
Miss, I added 3 to the rule.
Good. So Grace said that the difference was equal to 3. Hey, good, Grace. So the difference was 3. Good. Well done. And did you do anything else, Grace, or did you get there?
No, Miss, I only got there and I added the 17 to get the 6th position, and I also got 20.
Perfect. Well done, Grace. Thank you so much. Okay, so Grace found the difference for me. It was 3. So I'm going to go say now, okay, so if I'm going to take my first number, I'm going to use number 1 to try first. I know that first I must times by my difference. So my difference is 3. 1. And then what must I do? I must add something, and that will give me my term. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 3 plus what gives me 5? 3 plus 2. So if I'm looking for my rule is going to be Tn equals 3 times by n plus 2. Let's go see if that works for other numbers quickly. Let's go make sure that works. So I'm going to take out that one, and I'm going to take out that one. All right. I'm going to go try the one in the middle. I'm going to go try 15 this time. So I'm saying 5. 5 times by 3 gives me 15, and 15 plus 2 gives me 17. So does my rule work? Yes, it does. Right. Well done, Lorona. I'm seeing your rule is correct in the chat. Well done. Hey, I hope that this is making a lot more sense, guys. I hope that you're understanding. I hope that this was a little bit easier than what we did on Monday. Okay, let's go and have a look to ourselves now, what we're going to do today. Let's go have a look at some work from today. So, today, I've got a little bit of a summary for you first. On a different way that you could do this, it says, given a sequence of numbers, we can also identify a pattern or relationship between the term and its position in the sequence. This allows us to predict the value of a term in a sequence based on the position of that term. So it's useful to represent this in tables. So exactly the same as what we just did, but instead they are putting it in a table format. So we're not going to go through that because we've just done that. What we're going to move on to do today is we're going to move on to the questions. So have a look at this one for me. The table is slightly different, but you know at school you sometimes get tables that look a little bit different. In this table now, we're looking at a table that goes a different way. So it says, the table below shows a sequence. However, one term is missing. Fill in the missing value. So I've been given position, and so because you guys have learned so much about it now, you know that this is the same thing as saying n, and we're looking for the term which is Tn. So I'm missing term number 1. I'm going to do the first one with you. Let's go and have a look. I don't know what the first term is, but the second term is 13, and then I have 17, and then I have 21, and then I have 25. So what am I doing each time, guys? I am adding 4. Okay, so in the chat, who can tell me, how am I going to get to the first term? What am I going to do to get to the first term? Or what is the first term? Who can tell me? Good, I'm going to subtract 4 from 13, and the first term will be 9. Well done. Well done, everybody. Well done. So, if we go and do the rule for this one, just because we know how to do it now, everyone, we'll say to ourselves, we know that the difference is 4, okay? And so we'll say to ourselves, well, if we take the first term and we multiply it by the difference, and then we need to add something, and that will give us 9. So 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 plus what will give me 9? 4 plus what gives me 9? 4 plus 5. So if I'm going to do the rule, I'm going to say Tn is equal to n times 4, or 4 times n plus 5. So I can write it that way, or I can say Tn equals 4 times n plus 5. Let's check to make sure we've got the right rule. So if we're going to check, let's go erase this number and this number. Let's go do this one over here. Okay, so let's say to ourselves, we're going to take number 4. 4 times 4 gives me 16, and 16 plus 5 will give me 21. Is that the correct answer? Was it 21? Yes, it is. So I have the correct rule. Well done. All right, I'm going to move down to the next one for you guys. Okay, for this one, I don't want you to find the rule. I just want you to find the missing number for me. So my first term is 0. My second term is minus 15. My next one is minus 30. Then I'm missing 1. And then I've got minus 60. So how am I going to work out what I'm missing each time? Who can tell me in the chat? What's my missing number going to be? What's my missing number going to be, guys? Nice, well done. It's going to be negative 45. Don't let them trick you. Don't forget about the negatives. Negative 45. I'm minusing 15 each time. Okay. Have a look at the next one for me. The next one, again, I'm missing a number. I've got 17, and then I'm missing 1. And then I've got 15, 14, 13. Well done. We are super quick tonight. It's the number 16. It's the number 16. Okay, well done, guys. All right, so now we're going to move on to ones that are slightly different, but ones that you might have seen before. It says, Abdullah's building patterns with matchsticks. He builds one item each day. Here are the first 4 constructions. So he's got a square in the middle, and then he's got 2 triangles on the top. Then he's got 2 squares and 2 triangles, 3 squares and 2 triangles, 4 squares and 2 triangles. It says, how many matchsticks does Abdul use on the 5th day? So it's a little bit of a brain break for you guys, this one. It's like a little bit of a game for you guys to go and try. Have a look for me. Have a look for me. All right, have a look for me. All right. Go have a look for me. You're going to tell me how many matchsticks he's using. All right, let's go check your answers and see how you're going. So what I would do to work this out is I would go and work out, okay, so in my first drawing, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's using 8 matchsticks. In my second drawing, he's using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 matchsticks. In my next drawing, he's using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 matchsticks. So am I starting to see a pattern? Am I starting to see a pattern? Okay, yes, I am. What am I doing each time, everybody? What am I doing each time? Let's double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there were loads of people who got the 5th day right. So we've got 4 days on my screen. You guys tell me, how many matchsticks on the 5th day? How many on the 5th day? Right, what am I seeing here on the 5th day? I saw Jaden gave me the right answer. Who else gave me the right answer here? Let's see. So Rito gave me the right answer a little bit earlier on. Good, I'm seeing loads of people. So on the 5th day, I've got 20 matchsticks. Well done, guys. All right. Let's have a look at the next one. He's still building. So Now Ntefela is building patterns with matchsticks. He builds one item each day. There are first 4 constructions. How many matchsticks does he build on the 5th day? So go have a look at this next one for me. We're going to work out how many he's building on the 5th day. Okay, have a look for me. All right, well done. Before I even got there, we had some right answers. What are we doing each time? We are adding 2 matchsticks, so we've got 15. Well done, everybody. We are adding 2 each time, so we've got 15. Well done. Okay, well done. And the last one that we're looking at tonight. Okay, consider the following pattern. All right, consider the following pattern. See if I can fit it all on my screen. They've been very kind to us. They've said to us, complete the table. In picture 1, okay, in picture 1, I've got 6 squares. In picture 2, they told me I've got 9 squares. In picture 3, there's 14 squares. In picture 4, they're asking me to go and to put the number of squares in there, and then to put it in for picture 5 as well. So if we go and look at the difference, well, the difference between here and here was 3, and then I had 5. So if I go and count my squares, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And so what did I add? I added 7. Well done, Swelishle. Well done. So what am I going to do to get to picture 9, guys? What do I need to add? Tell me in the chat. What am I adding to get to picture 9? What am I going to add? First, I added 3. Then I added 5. Then I added 7. What must I add? Good. I must add 9. Well done. So 21 plus 9 gives me 30. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Well done. Right, that brings us to the end of our questions for tonight. Mr. Hugo is going to put your quiz inside the chat for you. So Mr. Hugo is going to put your quiz there for you guys to get your link to your quiz to. I am going to stay online and I'm going to answer a few questions. If I don't get to your questions, what I am asking you to do to please write your questions in the chat, everybody. Please write them in the chat so that if I don't get to you, that they will be there. Please make sure that you are raising your hand if you've got a question, okay? Please make sure if you're raising your hand if you've got a question, okay? And I am starting with Rafilwe. Rafilwe, what is your question? Rafilwe, you are unmuted. What is your question? Rafilwe, I'm going to try you once more. You are unmuted. What is your question? Okay, I am not hearing from Rafilwe. Right, I'm going to move on. Dimple, Dimple, what is your question tonight?
Ma'am, at the beginning, when you started, how did you get 19?
How did I get 19? Okay, let's go have a look. So, oh, yeah, wrong one. Let's go see here quickly. So at the beginning, when I started, how did I get 19? All right, so I've got, let's erase this quickly. I said to you guys, okay, I said 1, whoopsie, 1 times by -3. Dimple, what's 1 times by -3?
3.
Okay, positive or negative?
-3.
Good girl, -3, right. And then, do you agree I've got to add something, and that will get me to 16, hey? Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Because that's the rule, hey? So now, I'm sitting at -3, Dimple. So I'm sitting at -3. So I go and I draw myself a Number line, because we all know how much ma'am likes number lines, am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I draw myself a number line. -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, don't have enough space. Oh no, now I took out the line. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Right, let's go count. Dimple, you ready?
Yes,
You with
ma'am.
me? Okay, I'm at
Yes.
-3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18?
19.
19. That's how I got to 19. I used my number line. See how much I love a number line, hey? I'm going to keep using them. Promise.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Dimple. Thank you for your question. All right, I'm making a reminder to those of you whose questions I'm probably not going to get to. Please make sure that you are going to write your question in the chat. Bushle, what is your question? Bushle, you are unmuted. What is your question? Bushle? Okay, I think Bushle is forgotten that they raised their hand. Right, I've got Renil with, Renil.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, what's your question?
Oh, ma'am, it's not actually a question, ma'am, but
Okay.
so, ma'am, let's say can the rule of the numeric and geometric patterns be a decimal?
Can it be a decimal? It can be a decimal. Yeah, you could get a decimal for one of them. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, ma'am.
No problem. All right, I am going to answer one more question and then I'm going to say goodbye for the night. Please make sure that you are checking the links to the quiz. So I've got Umpile. Umpile, what is your question? Umpile, you are unmuted. What's your question? Okay, I don't seem to have Umpile there. Siam Tanda, you should be able to unmute yourself. What is your question? Siam Tanda, you should be able to unmute yourself. What's your question? Siam Tanda? Okay. Tali Sunzuza?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, what's your question?
Ma'am, I wanted to ask if it is a must to use a number line to get
If it's
the
a
answer.
must. If you know how to do it without, I'm just going to mute you if that's okay. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's just giving me some feedback. If you know how to do it without a number line, then you can do it without a number line. If you know how to do it and you're allowed to use your calculator, then use that as well. Okay, but you don't have to use a number line if you know how to do it without a number line, okay? Are you good?
ma'am.
Okie dokie. I will see you next week.